Welcome to Road to Spiti series episode 3. We wake up in Nako. Nestled at 12,000 feet, Nako isn't just a village. It's a pause button on time. Surrounded by the Trans-Himalayas, it's one of the lost Kinori settlements before Spiti begins to unfold. We reached here last night, but waking up here feels like we're in a painting. Built in the 11th century, the Nako Monastery is said to be one of the oldest in the region, part of the same wave of Vajrayana Buddhism that brought life to Tabo and Dankar. Every crack in the wall whispers stories older than most empires. You don't talk much here, you listen with your eyes, with your breath. We are headed towards the Nako Lake. As we walk through Nako's narrow lanes, you'll notice something. The houses here are made of stone, not wood. Why stone, you would ask? Nako sits around 12,000 feet above the natural tree line. There are very few large trees that grow here, so wood is rare and is also precious. What little wood they do use for windows, doors, and occasional support beams is usually brought in from lower regions. The surrounding mountains also provide plenty of natural stone, making it readily available building material. Winters in Nako are brutal, so stone helps in temperatures, insulation, and climate adaptation. They act like natural insulators and keep houses cool in summer and warmer in the winter. It also helps resistance to earthquake. So they do have a traditional design they use which helps in earthquake resistance and also would be longevity and low maintenance. Stone houses once built last generations with minimal upkeep compared to wood which can rot or be eaten by insects. So you won't see many wooden houses here. And it's not just about style. At this altitude, trees don't grow tall, but stones are everywhere, so the mountains themselves become part of the village. The path to Nako Lake isn't a straight one. It winds through the soul of the village. Each home, each alley, each face feels like a page from a storybook written in mud and stone. Walking through here feels less like sightseeing and more like time travel. The air smells of pine smoke, and every doorway holds a welcome that doesn't need words. In Nako, people don't rush. The wind doesn't either. Life is lived slowly, thoughtfully. And just when the village thins out, past the clutter of willows, the lake reveals itself like a secret. Nako's lake reflects more than the mountains. It mirrors the stillness inside you. There's a legend that Padmasambhava meditated here, and honestly, it makes sense. You feel it, not in your head, but somewhere deeper. If the Himalayas had a heartbeat, you'd hear it here. The road from Nako to Tabo isn't just a drive, it's a shift in reality. It's where the green starts to fade and the Spiti moonscape begins. You look out and it almost feels like Mars, minus the spacesuit. Stark, silent, stunning. We are officially entering Spiti Lahore. It's not just a place, it's a feeling, rugged, remote, and real. This stretch takes you through the infamous Malingnala, a spot notorious for landslides and washed out roads. It's where nature reminds you who's in charge, and yet every turn feels like it's been hand carved by the gods. One moment you're skimming along cliffs, the next you're cruising next to ancient riverbeds where silence runs deeper than sound. Just off the main road between Nako and Tabo lies a place most people miss, and maybe that's why it still feels so otherworldly. Welcome to Gyu, a tiny village barely on the map but home to one of Himalaya's deepest mysteries. The Gyu region and much of the Sumdo Chango belt near the India Tibet border exists at literal and metaphorical crossroads between time zones, cultures, and histories. Here's a fact that'll mess with your head. In Gyu, the clocks don't quite follow India. Technically, you're in Himachal Pradesh, but the rhythm of life here, it follows China time. That's because we're so far east, almost at the border with Tibet, that the sun rises and sets nearly 2 hours ahead of the rest of India. Phones here sometimes autocorrect to Chinese networks, maps glitch, time zones blur. Tabo Monastery doesn't rise like a fortress. It sits quietly like it's been meditating for centuries. This is Sangha Tenzin, a monk, a mystery, and possibly a miracle. Over 500 years ago, it's believed that Sangha Tenzin willingly began the process of self mummification, a ritual practiced by a few rare Tibetan monks seeking ultimate enlightenment. He meditated, fasted, and drank a poisonous resin to preserve his body from within. After death, his followers buried him in a sitting position. Years later, an earthquake cracked the tomb open and his body was found perfectly preserved. No chemicals, no embalming, just Himalayan cold and faith. You can read about this stuff, you can see photos, but when you're here, it's not just a mummy, it's presence, it's peace. We've now reached Tabo. Throughout this Spiti trip, I've been craving for one thing, and that is tukpa. So now we're on the lookout for that authentic tukpa. So, I was meant to get some shots here, but your girl got ambushed by a steaming bowl of tukpa and totally forgot. It was worth it though, so there's no footage here because I completely got distracted. No regrets. This isn't just a monastery. This is a 1,000-year-old time capsule, untouched, unshaken, and unbelievably sacred. Welcome to Tabo. Founded in 1996 AD by the great translator Rinchen Zangpo, Tabo is the oldest continuously operating Buddhist monastery in India and one of the oldest in the world. It was established under the rule of Spurhang Kukhe Kingdom, which spread Vajrayana Buddhism across the western Himalayas. Back then, this wasn't just a monastery, it was a university, a cultural powerhouse, and a refuge for spiritual seekers. The monastery complex is made up of 9 temples, 23 shrines, monk quarters, and cave shrines carved into the hills above. But it's what's inside that takes your breath away. You'll probably not see any footage of the inside because cameras were not allowed, but I can definitely tell you that inside, the murals are over 1,000 years old, vibrant depiction of Buddha's life, tantric deities, and cosmic cycles. These aren't just paintings, they're spiritual blueprints. It's often called the Ajanta of the Himalayas, not just for its art, but for how that art is infused with devotion. The golden temple, it seems. No photography, Madhyumi. Remember how I said I'm going to keep a track of the rock structures throughout this journey in my first episode? How many rock structures did you notice? Did you see any changes? Comment down in the comment section below. The road from Tabo to Kaza is only about 50 kilometers, but it feels like you're crossing time zones, planets, and maybe parts of yourself you forgot existed. As you drive deeper into the belly of the valley, the mountains here don't roll. They rise like ancient kings, jagged, raw, uncompromising. The Spiti River, your companion for this entire journey, flows beside you, a silver thread stitching together scattered villages and untold stories. And then, without fanfare, you arrive. Kaza, the beating heart of Spiti, capital town, supply line, and cultural anchor. At over 12,000 feet, this isn't your typical Himalayan town. Here, ancient monasteries meet solar powered homestays, and locals laugh through winters that can break you in minutes. This isn't the end of the road, it's the start of Spiti's real story. And in Kaza, that story begins with silence, stars, and the highest places on earth that still feel human. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.